Welcome to another episode of Hashtag Agency Life. And today we have on the call Steve Picanza. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing awesome. I thank you for pronouncing my name correctly.
Exactly how everyone's meant to say it, isn't it? Is the Steve Picanza.
Just like that, Lee. Just like that.
Or Picanza if you just want to kind of be posh.
Right. That's posh. That's very posh on my part.
Just love your name. In fact,
thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate this.
Whenever I tag you in things now, mate, because I can never remember if it's a PH or a V, I just start typing in Picanza and you come up.
My whole life, that's basically what people called me.
Hey, Picanza.
It's unique enough. Hey, Picanza. That's me. What's up?
But not quite the way I pronounced it, obviously.
No, not like you.
I was being an idiot. I apologize to the internet. A bit. Not a lot, just a bit apology. Yeah, anyway. All right. You know the format. So you ready to rock and roll?
Let's rock and roll, baby. Let's do it.
Yes. Okay. Don't forget, everyone, you can also watch this on agencytrailblazer.com/YouTube. And you can watch this handsome man who is gorgeous. Right. Okay. So first question is, tell us the name of your agency and what it is you do.
We are Latin in Code, and we help B2B organizations essentially make smarter branding and, in parentheses, marketing decision.
You've said that a few times.
A couple of times. It's all about that value proposition, right? It comes down to branding. If you don't know your position and your value prop, how can you market yourself?
Yes.
How to have that strategy behind you.
Steve is good on this. I first met Steve at a conference where he talked about this exact thing. All right. So if you guys were going to have a big birthday party, we're all going to meet you over in Italy. I think you're at the moment. We were going to maybe do a barbecue and some nice Italian fine wines and all of that sort of stuff. Can you think of when your birthday may be and how old your agency is?
July 11th. So 7-Eleven, right? We're always open. We're all over the world.
Amazing.
I think we officially registered the agency in 2014. So we are in our 4th year of operation. Going on year number 5. And this is this inclination. I had an agency many moons ago, between 2008 and 2012. But this agency, Latin Code, since 2014.
That's awesome. So Latin and Code, let's learn about your setup and how many people are there in your team?
Great. So it's the core is really just 2 of us. So it's my wife, Melissa, and myself. You'd also hear Melissa on our podcast that we have as well. And she's always around. But we, depending on project engagement we have, we will scale up and we will, subtract depending. There's no need to keep a bunch of staff members on our payroll, so to say, if the project is not perfect for them. And our whole idea is really, we keep our client list pretty small. We keep it manageable for ourselves. We want to make as much impact as we can, and add as much value. And so depending on that engagement is who we will bring on, whether it's copywriters, other strategists, designers. And then as we need, more technical, whether it's web or whatever it is, we will contact, and we have relationships and partnerships with many agencies across the States and into Europe.
That's awesome. It's a really good way of working. And I think a lot of agencies have kind of not awoken, but kind of discovered this new way of working. Instead of having to have a big bricks and mortars, costly office with a whole load of staff that you're paying to wait between projects, you can actually do what you're doing, which is a much more fluid, much more scalable model.
It's nimble, right? We're small but mighty, but if we need to be big, we can definitely scale up as we need to be. But it gives us the power and keeps the control with us as opposed to the outside forces.
And it also kind of leads into our next question, because what you're doing enables this thing to happen. The normal question is, do you have an office or virtual setup? And I know you're about to tell me how you guys operate, which is awesome.
We're crazy virtual. I think that's the term we're going to use. We're not just virtual, we're crazy virtual. So our business is registered in the great state of California, but we literally operate around the world. Right now, we're doing this interview. I'm in Milan, kind of our European office. I think we've spent about 4 months here this past year, just for some engagements that we have, some teaching that I'm doing. And then we also operate pretty fluidly out of Philadelphia, which is another kind of mainstay of ours. But our team members are all over the United States and honestly all into Europe. And so we are, it's that modern day economy, right? Yep. It's that modern day way of working where having that physical location doesn't make sense for us. It doesn't make sense financially for us. And to be honest, our team members, even if we were in San Diego where our business is registered, we don't have any team members or clients there. So why even have an office?
Yeah. Exactly. You guys are absolutely global and I freaking love it. And I also like following your Instagram, folks. We will make sure we put links in for Instagrams, etc. But you guys are really prevalent on social media and I love watching where you are and you sharing your evening meals with people, your Instagram stories, all of that good stuff is just phenomenal. And I love watching what you guys are up to and I'm slightly envious. Okay. So there's the core team.
Right.
But also you have the wider team. Like you said, you're very fluid, you're nimble, you're able to bring people on and that's the way they like it probably as well because they work with multiple people. But as you're working with a team, can you describe the culture that you try and foster with obviously the core team, but also with anyone else who works with you?
I mean, to sound, I don't want to sound cliche, but open and collaborative is absolutely essential to the way that we work. And we're in month 12 of a 16-month journey where we've just been traveling, right? And we talk about this all the time, how travel creates empathy, travel allows you to be more understanding. And I think even with our team, it gives us, it gives us that leg up to be understanding and to try to extract the greatness from all the people that we work with, because we pride ourselves on working with the best of the best. And in doing so, sometimes ego comes into play, especially in the creative world or in the branding world, where it's very intellectual. And by coming in, and I think, from the very first interaction, the very first touch point, and even when you listen to us on our podcast, you're able to hear that, we're definitely breaking that mold where we are approachable, we're personable, but we take our job extremely serious because the success of our clients, again, not to sound cliche, is the success of us. And so the culture that we're fostering, really starting with Melissa and I, is, we're able, do your best from wherever you want to do your best, and let's just get the job done. And I think that is really it's a lifestyle that we're trying to move forward with for the rest of our life, not just for the time being.
And spoiler alert, we actually interviewed Melissa just a few weeks ago. That podcast is going live in a few short weeks' time, where she shares some of that 16-month journey that you guys are on, where you literally up sticks and goodbye house, we are traveling the world, stuff in storage, crazy people, but awesome at the same time. But we won't go too much into that because #spoiler alert. Right, let's talk about your mission. And do you work in any particular industry or niche? I know the answer to this, but come on, hit us.
The riches are in the niches. And while I have a breadth of experience in so many different industries, it seems to be the ones that are calling us and the ones that are really looking for our assistance are the legacy type brands that operate in a B2B space. So these are the brands that have the relationships, they have some content, they sort of know what they're doing, but they're overwhelmed, or their marketing department isn't savvy enough, or maybe even they're only a marketing department of one. And we all know that can't, that's not sustainable. And so many clients are coming to us saying, Steven, Melissa, we have this, we've done this, we found success, we've scaled to $10 million in revenue a year, but we're losing. And I could feel that we're losing. And so it's our job to come in and evaluate positioning, evaluate, do you know who your audience is? Evaluate, you communicating and articulating your value to your audience in the correct manner. And so recently it's really, it's been about, troubleshooting and finding those challenge areas within those brands, and then assembling the team around to really help solve those problems. And so we're leveraging, this idea of agile strategy, of design thinking, to not just to solve problems, but to solve the right problems. Because, a client doesn't know what a client doesn't know. They might think that somebody told me that SEO is exactly what I need to grow my business. So they're like, is that right? And we peek behind the curtains, and it's not. Maybe that's a part of it. That's a component of it, but that's not going to solve their problem. They don't have a brand strategy. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know their goals. They don't know their vision or their mission. We talked about culture earlier. A lot of times the internal culture of an organization is off. If the CEO and the janitor of the organization cannot recite the same story with the same passion, your culture is broken, and it's going to permeate through everything that you do. Every touch point you put out there, it's almost going to look like a smoke and mirror. And so the clients are coming to us with those issues at hand.
I could just literally listen to you talk, because that's how I met you.
I'm a talker.
You were on stage, weren't you, at the conference, and you were the refreshing speaker because you were. I think you crammed in the most expletives I've ever heard into any one conference.
You could take the boy out of New York, but you can't take the New Yorker out of the boy.
Beautiful experience. That is an awesome niche. I mean, to try and put that into a very simple package, you essentially work with successful brands, but the bit that's missing for them is they've been able to make it to date using the old school techniques that they've always used, that have always worked, but now we're in a different sort of landscape, aren't we? There's online, there's digital technology, all of that sort of stuff, and they know that if they don't grab hold of that and have someone like you guys helping them do that, then they are eventually going to lose. So that's a really, really powerful place to be. And mate, I'm loving the fact that you're being able to help businesses. I know one of your clients and the work that you do with them, it is really inspiring. And they're also really nice people as well. So, and
that, it comes down to, we're not going to work with, we have to believe in that purpose of the client. We're not going to be working with a client who is doing bad for the environment or bad practices or has, we're really going to vet, and because we really create strong bonds and strong relationships.
That's why you won't work with me, isn't it? So rude. Right. Anyway, but hey, whatever. All right. So for these clients, I think we've pretty much alluded to it. I think it's pretty obvious, but the question I would normally ask is, what is the main problem that you solve for your clients? Is there any one thing that you could put into a tweet that is about you guys?
Digital brand transformation. All right. Digital transformation is a huge topic. A lot of brands are looking at this from a IT perspective, from a marketing perspective, and the idea that, within large organizations, silos are created where maybe CMOs and CIOs and CTOs, they're not on the same strategy. They're not on the same wavelength. And so really what we've become good at over the years is being able to, from a high level perspective, a top down view, create strategies that all departments can kind of latch on to, that can continuously move the organization forward and hopefully mitigate risk along the way, because it becomes very risky if your CMO and your CTO are not speaking the same language. It becomes very risky when the brand strategy isn't necessarily thought out in a manner that can be followed. And so in doing what we call digital brand transformation is really taking this idea of your brand, creating an ecosystem on the back end where all facets are working together, everyone's talking the same language, and now you're able to really connect with your audience at the truest form. So that's really in a nutshell. Hopefully that's a lot more.
That's a massive nutshell, mate. That was like a bag of nuts. So let me try.
Yeah, please, at the bag of nuts.
All right, let me try. I think what you guys are doing, or the main problem that you're solving for these brands, is you're helping the brand realize and unpack who they are and what they're doing and where they're going, and you're getting buy-in from everyone in the organization. So everybody is getting involved and driving that mission forward. Would that be a nutshell?
100%. Because when we leave, we're not going to be working with the brand forever.
Exactly. Everyone needs to know it.
They have to be sustainable. They have to be able to, carry the torch. We'll teach you, how to drink water, but we're not going to do it for you.
No, exactly. Let's talk about marketing then, something you're very good at for your clients. You already explained that you try and keep the client list small. So this isn't something you do all the time, but obviously you still need to ensure there is a pipeline. Eventually the relationship will come to its natural conclusion because they'll be able to fly the nest, and you can be all tearful and proud of them as they go on bravely into the future together. But how do you guys continue to generate leads?
For us, it's all about thought leadership. I teach at 2 different universities, one here in Europe, one in the States at Drexel University. I do a lot of speaking on stages, a lot of blog writing, ebook writing. So the more that behind the pencil and the podium that we can get, from workshops to webinars to being on podcasts, the more that our personal brands are going to grow. And no matter, whatever happens with Latin and Code, we might decide to, close Latin and Code's doors in a couple of years. Steven Picanza still stays around.
Yeah.
And so that personal brand, like your thumbprint, is unique to you. And so for us, it's about building that uniqueness from an individual perspective, our personal brand, which then, ensures that our pipeline is kind of being always full, because we're constantly, pushing our stuff out there. We're constantly having, ensuring that our editorial calendar is up to date, ensuring that our content calendars are up to date and full with some of these accolades, some of these publications that we're in, as well as the teaching that we're doing.
That's so cool.
You helped
Pencil
me out.
to podium. Pencil to podium. I like that one. Lots of alliteration going on in that answer, as well as workshop to webinar, or whatever it was.
Workshop to webinar, I guess you're right.
Yeah. Cool. Sorry, you were saying something about me? It sounded really nice.
Yeah, I mean, well, you were, a lot of what I do when I teach is I bring in my friends who are better than me at a lot of things. There's a lot of people better than me at a lot of things. And Lee, you are a lot better at me explaining WordPress. Yeah. So, that whole thing. So when I do my class at Drexel, which happens about twice a year, I bring you in, Lee, to help explain WordPress and help to break down the fundamentals of why WordPress is essential to growing your business.
I nearly lost my voice in that. That was like an hour and a half worth last time. And folks, if you want to see that and you're an Agency Trailblazer member, you can actually see that in there. We did a recording and popped it in there for you guys. To awesome. Enjoy. It helps you explain the fundamentals if you wish to your clients and all of that good sort of stuff. All right. So success. How do you measure success? And you can answer that in any way. It could be for you personally. It could be for the both of you. It could be for the business. I don't care. I'm just interested in your answer at what you think success is for you.
This is something that we've had to go through a big pivot recently in bringing the focus back to what we're good at, and consulting and working with brands is what we're good at. And for a while, we really put a lot of stock into our kind of sub brand and podcast, which was the Creative Hustler podcast. We still have it. But it dawned on us about a year ago, 9 months ago, that it was the wrong path to pursue. We thought success was going to come from there. And one of the things that we do when working with brands and when working with anyone is an internal audit, right? We have to ask just like Socrates says, know thyself. We have to know thyself. And that question of what does success really look like is something that I thought long and hard about. And it comes down to this idea of my life's work and my life's, purpose in a way. And for me, it's always been, or what I've realized recently is I'm an experience maker, right? I create experiences for the brands I work with. I create experiences for the audience I hopefully can influence. Hopefully my teaching is an experience for the students that I'm impacting. And you mentioned even earlier, I want to create an experience if you come over and enjoy a meal with us. So for me, success is just being able to create experiences, being creative. Obviously, I need to make a living. Obviously, I want money. But I think if I stay true to myself and continuously work on my life's work and my life's purpose, the money is going to come. A fear of mine, Lee, and this is something I've actually been thinking a lot about recently, is, what happens? So many people, especially the rat race, that is the United States. People, I'm working towards retirement. I'm working towards retirement. And that word retirement just doesn't sit well with me. It's
boring to me.
Yeah, it does. And I've seen it. I've seen so many retirees who, right after they're done working, it's just a downward decline. And I started, deconstructing that. Like, why is that? And they weren't doing their life's work. They had a job. And so this idea of creating experiences, I want to be creative always. I want to be impactful always. And whether, again, if it's for a brand, for my family, for my friends, or just for my community, to me, that is success. I'm getting to do what I want to do. I just happen to get paid for it.
Agreed. And I would recommend the 4-hour work week just to start to get your mind in the concept of retirement does not necessarily need to be when you are 65 or whatever the country of your birth allows you to. You can actually experience mini retirements, as it were, throughout your life, which is exactly what you guys are doing by spending 16 months traveling the world and working at the same time. You're creating amazing memories and amazing experiences. Right, exactly. We're coming into land. We're running out of time, so let's
do it.
Crash through these final questions then. It's the confession round, so it's just you, me, and a few thousand listeners around the world, so I'm pretty sure your secret is going to be safe with everybody, we promise. So what is the biggest problem you feel you guys have?
Biggest problem we have is I'm going to say part of it is time management as well. You know, right now it's time management, and it's the fact that we are continuously on the move. That's challenging. And it's challenging because I very much am I'm a creative. I want to lock myself in a library for about 8 hours and just get in the groove. And if I'm constantly on the move, it's hard for me to get into that mode. So that's my biggest challenge right now.
Time. Don't worry, Doctor Who has you covered. Just go make friends. All right. So well-being. You just alluded to the fact that you struggle with time. You are traveling an awful lot. And I guess the temptation as entrepreneurs is that we're always thinking, we're always doing business. It feels like we're almost always working. Have you any tips for switching off apart from sleep?
Oh, shit. I mean, sometimes I'm so good at it and sometimes I'm not.
If the answer is no, that's also fine.
No,
because we're all still learning, mate.
Right. We're all there. For me, though, when I have a guitar around, that usually helps me when I have a musical instrument. I had a ukulele for a little bit. I left that in the States. I have my guitars back in the States. But while we're here in Europe, I do not have a musical instrument, so it becomes a little bit more difficult. But for me, it's music. Or cooking. Holy, how could I forget cooking?
Mate, look at my Instagram.
That's the ultimate right there.
Look at my Instagram. It's all covered in cooking. And then based on cooking then, how do you guys stay healthy? Obviously, I know Melissa's often out for runs, etc. But what other activities do you engage with to maintain some sort of health?
We stay at Airbnbs. We don't stay in hotels. So by having Airbnbs, we're able to have a kitchen, and that controls our food. And we like to cook. I mean, I love that creative process. And we eat pretty healthy. And Melissa is a little bit of she keeps me on track in that sense. We got to go for our morning walks. We have to have our smoothies. We have to have our teas. She's rubbing peppermint on me if I have a headache, so we keep it natural.
Everyone needs a Melissa.
Everyone needs a Melissa.
There you
go. That's the title of my book. My next book.
I look forward to it. All right. Last question then. And this is important that you stick to the rules. The rules is you're only allowed to choose one thing. And it can literally be anything. It can be software. I'm not going to give you any more clues, but it is this. Can you name one tool, one thing that you feel has been essential to your agency's success, and why?
Recently, within the last 3 months, Asana boards.
Well, I'm with you there. Amazing.
Having the boards is how my brain kind of works. If I use it for lead lists, I use it for strategy, I use it for planning. I do a lot of work within personal branding. If I'm creating a personal brand program for a student or a client, I build out on Asana, and we are able to look at it, and it changed me a little bit.
I'll tell you what else is helpful, mate. If you look at Instagant and you plug that in, you can actually see an entire critical path of projects or a flow of your idea. It is so phenomenal. It's ridiculous. So anyway, a brilliant tool. I would agree. And you said just one, which is awesome.
I had more, but
people get around it by saying Microsoft Office. I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
Obviously, Google.
Or Google G Suite. Or like, hey, wait, that's not one tool. That's a suite of tools.
I'll tell you what. The other one tool is the damn internet.
What's that? What is internet?
What is this?
What is internet? Have you seen that? If I remember, which I'll probably forget, there is a YouTube video from like the 90s, and someone's like, and we introduced this new thing called internet. They don't say it's just the entire news article is about internet. And how will internet fix the problems of society? Well, internet is, and it's just so awkward watching it. But we are at an end. I have to kick you off because we actually have the next person lined up. You are wonderful. I could actually listen to you for hours. I knew it would be very hard for us to try and keep within the 30 minutes because we love to talk. I love you, mate. You're freaking awesome. I want you back soon. And whenever you're kind of our way, let's meet up. Have a wonderful day, mate.
You too. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you later. Peace.
Cheerio. Peace. Picanza. See ya.